Welcome. Today we shall be looking at Raynaud's disease. Raynaud's disease, also known as Raynaud's phenomenon, is a condition that involves episodic vasospasms of the small arteries and arterioles, leading to a reduced blood flow, primarily to the fingers and to the toes. These attacks are usually triggered by an exposure to cold or emotional stress and may also affect the ears and the cheeks. There are two types of Raynaud's disease, the primary Raynaud's and secondary Raynaud's. Let us start with the primary Raynaud's. Primary Raynaud's is identified when a condition exists in isolation without being associated with any other medical condition. These primary Raynaud's tend to have a more benign cause with less severe symptoms and less severe complications. The majority of the people with Raynaud's experience this type, and this type can be often managed with a lifestyle modification. A secondary Raynaud's phenomenon occurs as a component of another underlying disease. This is usually an autoimmune or a connective tissue disease such as scleroderma, lupus, or rheumatoid arthritis. Secondary Raynaud's is generally more severe with higher risk of complication such as ulcers, tissue damage, or even necrosis. The management of secondary Raynaud's focuses not only on the alleviating of the symptoms but also on treating the underlying disease that led to this development. In the pathophysiology, Raynaud's is caused by an exaggerated response to cold or to stress. The core condition lies in the body's abnormal response, causing an overreaction in the small blood vessels of the extremities. This exaggerated vascular response usually leads to the temporary narrowing of these vessels, reducing the blood flow to the extremities significantly. These vasospasms, like we've said, are triggered by cold temperatures and emotional stress. Raynaud's disease progresses through three stages: the Pala stage, known as stage 1, cyanosis stage, or the stage 2, and the Ruber stage, or the stage 3. In the first stage, the affected area turns white due to lack of blood flow to the area, and next it turns to blue, what we call cyanosis, as oxygen levels drop. Finally, it becomes red upon reperfusion. Patients may experience numbness, tingling sensation, pain, swelling, brittle nails, and in severe cases, ulcerations and gangrenes can occur. So the assessment findings will indicate a blanching of the extremity that is followed by cyanosis from vasoconstriction and reddening of the tissues as vasospasm is relieved. Some of the risk factors associated with Raynaud's disease. The primary Raynaud's is more common in females who are aged between 15 to 30 years, especially with a family history of exposure to occupational vibrations. Secondary Raynaud's is linked to an autoimmune disease, vasculitis, and some certain medications. The diagnosis of Raynaud's disease is based on evaluation and confirmation through tests such as capillaroscopy, an ANA, ESR, and CRP testing. You can as well perform a clinical evaluation using history and patient physical examination. Management of Raynaud's involves a lifestyle change such as avoiding cold and stress, quitting smoking, and regular exercise. Medications such as calcium channel blockers, vasodilators, and antiplatelets may as well be used. In severe cases, a surgical intervention such as sympathectomy or an amputation may be necessary. In regarding to patient education, patients should avoid known triggers, follow medication regimens, and perform a proper wound care. then nurses should monitor for tissue damage, treatment effectiveness, and side effects. Some of the interventions to patients who have Raynaud's disease includes monitoring of the pulses, administration of the vasodilators medication as prescribed, instruction of the clients or patients regarding the medication therapy, and assisting these patients to identify and avoid any precipitating factors, for example cold and stress. We as well need to instruct the client to avoid smoking, wear warm clothing, socks and gloves in cold weather, and advise them to avoid any injuries to the fingers and to the hands.